Let's go down to Albury Wodonga now, a community on the Murray River there that is soon to be divided across that New South Wales-Victoria border, which of course is the River Murray there. We're joined by the Wodonga Mayor Anna Speedy and the Albury Mayor Kevin Mack. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Let's start with you, Anna, on the Victorian side of the border as Mayor of Wodonga. Were you bracing for this news? Did you expect it, or has it hit you like a thunderbolt?
Look, I guess it was always on the cards, but it was unexpected today, and I, like everybody else and every other Victorian and people right across the nation, found out when they did, when the Premier made the announcement at 10:30 this morning. So right here on the border, Albury Wodonga, 100,000 people, this is going to drastically affect our community.
Absolutely. I mean, you're thought of as twin cities. Kevin, you're the Mayor of Albury on the New South Wales side. Obviously, you and Anna are keeping some social distance there in the current situation. Just what sort of inconvenience is this going to create for people when it comes to work, education, medical care?
Look, I applaud the Premier for making this very drastic decision because she considered it 5 or 6 months ago, but it's going to cause a lot of discord amongst our community, and considering there's a high proportion of our community that work in both sides of the border, and a lot of trade goes and commerce goes between both sides of the border, the major hospitals in Albury, so there's a whole range of issues here with our cancer centre in Albury as well. So I suppose my community at the moment, both sides of the border, because we are one community, are really at loggerheads as what happens next. And I'd like to see the public health order. I'd like to understand what the restrictions look like. And again, logistically, I'd like to see how the police are going to manage it, because I really feel sorry for the police. They've had a full book for the last few months, and this is just value adding to it.
I want to come back to some of the consultation and practicalities with both of you in a moment. But first up again, Kevin, did you say that you support and applaud the New South Wales Premier for taking this decision? Do you support it?
Yeah, I do, because primarily it's a difficult decision that she's had to make in very, very difficult circumstances. And they didn't want to do it 5 months ago because they were hoping they'd see the back door of this pandemic. But with what's happening in Victoria, community cross-infection is not good, and we do not want it in New South Wales, nor do we want it in our regions. The regions now are being probably unfairly discriminated against, but we're a country united together on this issue, and I still say the Premier of New South Wales has made a very difficult decision under very difficult circumstances. Not that we as two cities would not say that it's not going to inconvenience, but in terms of an inconvenience versus a death, which one would you rather? So let's work together, and Anna and I will work together with the state of New South Wales, and we'll make it happen, but we need a bit of common sense to prevail.
All right, Anna, as the Mayor of Wodonga on the Victorian side, do you support the decision as well?
Look, whether you support it or not, it's here. So now we have to deal with it, and we need to get down to the practicalities. How are these permits going to be issued? How are our people going to move between either city to be able to work, to be able to go to medical appointments, and also take care of families? So we have to get down to the nuts and bolts. How is this going to happen? And we need to have the least amount of impact on our businesses who, after bushfires and the impacts of COVID-19, are already hurting. So we need some clarity, and we need that information. We need it to be relatively simple for this border community.
Well, tell us now then, Anna, what level of consultation you've had so far. Has the state government or the state police forces or the state health authorities been in contact with you to work out how you can deal with this?
No, I've spoken with the Minister for Regions, Jack Symes, earlier this morning, and we are feeding back through our local members. I guess our strong point of view of potentially, should this line actually be drawn just a little north of Albury so that our community can actually continue to operate and potentially do this in a much more streamlined manner. So I haven't heard from anybody else today, but I guess it is early days. We are still waiting on those details, and I'm sure they're going to come through soon, but having some clarity is really important.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You're going to have to look after the practicalities of this. Everybody's doing this for the first time, but this has been talked about for a long while, as Kevin Mack mentioned. Kevin, can you tell us on the New South Wales side whether you've had much communication from government to consult with you about how to implement this?
Look, I've been in conversation with the local member, Justin Clancy, who on our suggestion, suggested a northern checkpoint or even a southern checkpoint for this particular issue away from our cities. And he's been on the front foot. But more importantly, I think, again, we are in a position where the public health order hasn't been issued. We don't know what to expect. And, you know, that part of it is a little bit challenging. And I must say, for our communities, is an area where we have to work as community leaders to share that information. But I don't disagree that it hasn't been difficult. But like I said, the alternative is far worse. And look, we've got behind us here, we've got 10,000 traffic movements today just on this arterial road, which was the former Hume Highway. On the main highway, the freeway, we've got 50,000 traffic movements a day. So you can see the logistics of a police force having to pull over all those cars, and the congestion it would cause would be horrific, let alone people trying to get to and from the two cities to do their day-to-day business.
So is the answer here to draw the line of control, if you like, the health check boundary, either north of Albury or south of Wodonga? You first, Ted? Sorry, Kevin?
Yes, absolutely. I think that is an alternative that, if common sense prevailed, they could easily administer and logistically could manage. And I think, again, there is no reason in Albury Wodonga to be shutting us off altogether because, again, from the economies and the commerce that goes on between these two cities, we would struggle again, we would suffer again. It will be a double blow for us. And essentially, look, the alternative is to have community transmission. I get that, but in terms of common sense prevailing, until we can actually get some level of understanding of what they're going to do, we won't know. But Anna and I will be working really hard to make sure that we get the best outcome for our two communities, which is indeed one community together.
Yeah, Anna Speedy, if you look at that option where you draw the line effectively south of the Twin Cities or north of them, which of those would you prefer? Do you think it needs to be south of Wodonga on the Victorian side or north of Albury too, so you're all roped in and treated as though you're in Victoria?
Well, look, either would work. What we've got to remember is it's actually going to be New South Wales Police who are implementing this. So to say to be south of our border, you know, probably isn't practical. That's why potentially the north of Albury makes more sense, simply because it is the New South Wales Police actually going to implement and keep the controls in place.
It's pretty extraordinary that you haven't had high-level consultation with the state government ministers so far. They've got a lot on their plate, but they've got basically 24 hours to work out a plan in cahoots with you. Good luck with doing that, and I appreciate your time, Anna Speedy and Kevin Mack. Thanks so much.